Hey there guys, Erica here from Highway 49 RC. As you can see, we have an interesting array of parts and materials here today. That is because we are going to be making scale brake lines for my Gelande. The hard lines that run along the axle are going to be this aluminum wire that I have, and I'm thinking about using the wires from this scrapped circuit board as the e-brake cables, and these wires as the soft line that runs up to the chassis and up to the front master cylinder. There won't actually be a master cylinder, but that's what this will be, basically running from the axle up to the chassis. And then these parts over here from RC 4-wheel drive are brake discs, some scale brake discs for the Gelande, and also scale calipers. I've also picked up a rear mounting kit. There is a front mounting kit for these calipers, but they were not in stock at either RC 4-wheel drive or RPP Hobby, so I'm not going to be able to mount the front calipers today, but I will be mainly working on the rear anyways, and I'll do the front some other time off camera once I get the right parts that I need. So the first thing, well, as you can see, I've already done some experimenting in preparation for this video and some like brainstorming, and I think I have a plan of attack. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the rear axle off and explain to you what the plan is. Okay, so I got the rear axle detached, obviously, and I've installed one side of the brake caliper and disc, and it looks super cool. So that's the way in the back that it mounts up. I'll be able to put my e-brake cable in there, and it clamps in actually perfectly, so there's no glue involved. It's a totally mechanical clamping connection. And then for the hard line, I'm going to drill a little hole into the caliper, and then use my wire and just stick it in there. Might add a little drop of CA, and then just bend it around onto the axle housing. Then the plan for getting the hard line attached to the axle housing is I'm going to file a V-groove into this axle truss where it bolts to the axle right here, and run the hard line through that, and that should clamp it hopefully nicely. And then up on the top of the pumpkin, I'm going to make a little block, so I'll have to go make that. But I think what I'll do off camera is I'll install the other half of the brake system and file the little V-groove in the truss, as well as make the block that's going to sit on top of the pumpkin there. I forgot, I was going to show you the installation of these brake parts. Alright, gotta take the hex off, leave the pin in there, grab the other brake disc, and that slides onto the shaft, and the hex is built into the brake disc, which is nice, so that just pops on like that. And then gotta undo the screws from underneath here. Alright, so now we've got those undone. We don't need those anymore. Put that aside, and then we can install the tiny little caliper onto this bracket, and that will go on like this. Let's see, get better light. It'll go on like that, so let's do that. So now that that is attached to the mounting bracket, like so, this will basically get stuck right underneath there, like that, and these longer screws will secure that to the axle. Now both of our brakes are installed, which is cool. I like that. So now, like I said, I'm going to go run off camera and start doing all the custom stuff, and then come back and show you what I've done. I've filed little grooves in the bottom of these link mounts so that a piece of our brake line can fit in the groove and get clamped to the axle. And then I've also drilled a little hole there and there on my calipers, so that I can then take my brake line and set it into the hole, and then that'll be like the connection. And then finally, I made this little aluminum piece. I did not use the mill for it because it was too small. Well, probably not too small, but it was easier just to do it by hand. There's a hole on top for the flexible line to the chassis. which will go in there, and then the hole in the side for the hard line that will run out to the calipers. Then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remount the discs and the calipers to the axle, and then from there I'll start shaping my brake line up to the center of the pumpkin. Alright, I've got my brakes reassembled, as you can see, and I've got this piece of my wire that's already pre-bent at this end, and I've filed off the cut end on my pocket knife file here. I'm going to put it in the hole. I might glue it, I might not, and I'm just going to bend it to where it needs to go, which it needs to end up right here, because that is where the axle bracket is going to go, and that's where the little slot in it ends up, is right over top of that. So we'll go like that, and then see any pair of pliers. Where did those go? Here we are. And I'm gonna see, let's see, maybe bend it like there. Something like that, maybe. Put that back in the hole. Get in there. I mean, I'll have to straighten it out, I think, a little bit and adjust it some. But if you go like that, and then put the wire right over where that groove is going to be. Let's go ahead and grab one of these and put it on and make sure that that works. Okay, there we go. That's snugged down, and that's the brake line. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, actually that looks really good. I'm surprised at how good this looks, actually. Yeah, man, this is cool. And it's not protruding too far through the caliper, so it's not gonna interfere with the rotary motion. And this is gonna come up here. I guess probably like that. Use my screwdriver as a spacer. Probably, yeah, just like that is probably going to be good. And then I guess we'll cut it just a little past the middle. And I want to file it too so that it gets the full depth. Okay, so there's that, and then I'll probably cut it shorter, but then our little junction goes there. Oh, that looks so good. Oh, that's actually going to look awesome. Alright, I'm going to time-lapse the rest of this finagling and finicking, and then I'll come back and show it to you guys when I'm done, I think. Also, for these guys, for my e-brake cables, they, I think, are just going to get screwed or clamped. So if I loosen these guys just a little bit, I can pull that bracket down just enough that I can shove the wire in the little gap. And then when I tighten the screws back down, it will clamp on that wire, and it looks like it's actually going to the e-brake system, and then this will wrap up and, you know, go up into the chassis. But that is gonna look hella badass. There you go. Now, does that look awesome or what? Just the back side. Yeah, that looks awesome. Alright, so off camera I made this little piece, these couple pieces that is, for where the e-brake cable connects to the cable that attaches to like the e-brake lever in the cab. It's not actually going to be attached there on this, and I'm not really sure where the other end of that cable or that piece of wire really is going to end up. I'll figure that out later once, and honestly it'll probably just end up getting lost in all the wiring for the body that I have to end up doing. But if you look under a real car, this is basically what this mechanism looks like, so I think that's pretty cool. It only took me like an hour to put together, actually less than that, but yeah, it looks pretty realistic, I'd say, and yeah, I think that's about it for this video actually. And there's the rear axle. I'd say that that is done and to my liking. I have not glued in that brake line, the flexible brake line yet, but I will do that off camera. I mean, the only thing really left is for me to do the front, which I'm not going to show in this video, partially because I have to wait for the components to come and to get in stock. And then off camera, like I said, I'll figure out where the other ends of the e-brake cable and that flexible brake line is actually going to end up in the chassis area. I was thinking about running hard lines along the chassis for the brakes, but we'll have to see about that, and I'll do that off camera. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys this bit of the build because it was kind of last minute, but this should give you an idea of where I was heading with it. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. Please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, comment down below, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram at hio49_RC, and next time we'll be working on lighting up the body, and then it'll be done, which is kind of crazy. So hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned to next time.